live from New York. It's Ask This Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another Ask Engineer with me, Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit factory. With me is this ginormous, wonderful factory where we make all the electronics that you know and love. We do the designing, testing, manufacturing, packaging, shipping, videoing, projecting. It's amazing. That's what we do here in downtown Manhattan. And I also got this guy, Mr. Lady Ada. He's also pretty handy.
Yeah.
Does stuff around the house.
I get in trouble, apparently.
You get in trouble, and you also get the show ready. And so you know all about what's on the show tonight, so why don't you
Most of the
tell
time
us?
I do, because I put all the little pictures into place.
I see you, like, every Monday, Tuesday, you're dragging those little squares.
Yeah. I put all the little pictures, and I save them for winter, and then I bring them out.
A little squirrel.
Yeah. Okay. On tonight's show, the code is DHL is here. We'll tell you why. Good news, everybody in Canada. DHL is here.
Okay.
That's right. 10% off in the Adafruit
You
store.
just gave it away.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it is. In this time-shifting universe, you can fast forward and rewind, so I may as well just skip to the end. 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, except for AdaBox and gift certificates. Show and Tell, epic show and tell tonight. People around the world showing and sharing projects. We'll talk about those and more. Packed mailbags and stop by. We have some mailbags that are text, some voicemails, all sorts of fun stuff. Time travel, look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Some factory footage from the Adafruit factory. A little bit of IoT, Nimbus-friendly cloud entity. 3D printing, new products, answer your questions. We'll have some top secret. We have a trivia question where we give away something. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Yay.
Yep. Okay, Lady Ada. Want to pay some bills?
The on-air sign is on now.
Yeah, it's on air because we're on air. That's how you know we're on air.
Okay.
Code ZHL is here. 10% off. Up to 11:59 p.m. except for gift certificates and AdaBox. It helps support us, Adafruit, an open source hardware company, a USA manufacturer, a lady-owned company. We're doing this independent.
We have more pink-haired ladies than
That's right.
anybody else.
We think so. We have the most market share of pink-haired lady engineers, technicians, you name it. What's going on here? Okay. A little bit of programming note for the folks who, maybe it's your first time watching. This is Ask an Engineer. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday. We just did show and tell, 7:30 p.m. On checkout. $200 or more, UPS, ground. It's free. We have a free shipping offer. And this is the big news.
Wow.
Now shipping DHL to Canada. And that's our big news. We've been working with DHL. They're a really cool company. They treat their employees great. They have a really interesting blog about their social causes, their Go Teach campaign that they do. And it's also going to help us. You can get the plane. They gave me a truck.
The plane.
Yeah, we asked for these. What's neat is we're still making sure all the custom stuff works, but basically you'll be able to just order something. It just shows up in Canada. It sails through. All the taxes, duties, all those things should be taken care of. It's a process, or as my Canadian friends would say, a process. So if you're in Canada, you now have a really good, fast, lower cost shipping option. You can also go to adafruit.com/distributors as always, but we got that going on.
And of course, you can always ship by postal or UPS. But we do suggest trying DHL out. We think it'll be a very good option.
Yeah, and for all of the Americans threatening to move to Canada, now you can. Okay. Same day delivery in New York City. If you're in New York and you are checking out before 11 a.m. and there's a zip code that we ship the same day, you'll see that as an option. Okay, Lady Ada, show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing the projects. The funnest half an hour, I think, in the world. The world's biggest show and tell, live every single week. What was shared this week?
Well, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 11 people on the show and tell, but we blasted through it. And we started off that blast with JP, who has a coffee blaster. It's this week's project. Kind of a fun project. He got this like blasting cat blaster. We'll show the video soon, but he wanted to basically show how to use it as an input to a microcontroller when it's a non-standard. It's not like a switch. It actually generates an AC voltage. So it's a little guide just showing you how to do that, and also just is really fun. he makes coffee with it. Noah and Pedro showed off this week's 3D Hangouts project. It's a Lego tape DIY with Ninja Flex and a heated glass bed. That's the secret. I gave it away. The heated glass bed. You can make your own.
Apparently, cleaning out the nozzle
And gears too.
is bonus level.
Yeah, all sorts of things you can do to make flexible Lego tapes. So you can 3D print your own Lego pieces, Lego tape, stick it to glass, stick it to computers, sew it onto clothing, sew it onto your shoes, whatever. All good.
Yeah.
Scott is back. Euro Scott is now back to being
They couldn't keep him out.
red-blooded American Scott. We're glad to have him back. He is kicking off some Circuit Python refactors and updates. People will see a lot more happening with Circuit Python. Not that we stopped. We were, of course, working on it in the last month, but there will be much more now that he's back in town. And also with the Feather M0 Express update, we now have hardware that people can use to try out Circuit Python. So things are happening in Circuit Python land. Eric came back. He has been soldering 1,500 individual NeoPixels into a dead mouse head sculpture for his dead mouse cosplay. It's kind of amazing and frightening because it's just so many LEDs. Check out the video for how to make your own dead mouse head. Bill B is here from AT Makers visiting with an update. Tomorrow they've got University of Florida at Gainesville. They're hacking this dog.
Yeah.
What's the name of that dog?
It's a toy that's now $15. It was the most popular toy. Yeah.
You press the feet and it says
big
things.
shout out to Bill, AT Makers, Noah and Pedro, everyone who has been doing these really neat accessibility projects. So basically, there's this toy, and if you have hands that can touch the paws, it's a neat toy because it can learn your name and do all sorts of stuff. But if you can't do that, if you don't have that type of mobility, it's probably the worst toy. Because it's sitting there and it's like, hey, do stuff with me, and you can't.
Yeah.
So they're working on how to modify these so kids with disabilities or not full ranges of movement will be able to play with these toys. And I think they have 50 right now. Go to atmakers.org and take a look at the workshop and more. This is really neat. This is probably one of the best examples, I think, of makers helping others. It's neat.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And also working on the pen holder, so accessibility pen holder. It's kind of interesting projects happening in the AT space for 3D printing. This is out of order, but whatever. Rebecca came back to visit. She made some pottery, which is cool. She wasn't totally wanted me to write that down, but I wrote it down anyways. She made some cool pottery.
All types of projects are okay at Show and Tell.
And she got an M3D printer, and she's building a Circuit Playground water sensor project for her homework.
Yeah.
That's really handy when you have maker hobbies that are then also your homework. That's neat because then you actually enjoy working on your homework, or you start hating working on your hobbies.
It's only homework if you'd rather be doing something else.
So she's doing that. Orlando was chilling, but then he got up and told us about maker therapy projects. So he's making an emoji badge for hospital rooms, so that kids can set what their mood is.
They can say here's the emoji, and the nurses can see hey, come visit me, or I don't really want to deal with you right now. And I thought it'd be neat to have it so, because Orlando said, activity is one of the things that they don't want them to be sedentary. So maybe it could be a little plant, and the more you move around once in a while, the plant kind of grows or something.
Yeah,
that'd be a neat way to Tamagotchi-ize some activity.
Yeah, he's using an NRF52 maybe, or he's making an all-in-one kit.
Yeah, another great example of makers helping others. It's such a neat time because the electronics are low cost enough. 3D printing is available. You're able to connect with others online.
Yeah.
This is the internet's neat for
golden age.
Yeah, the internet's neat. The buy button on every site is kind of cool. Love me some Amazon.
Yeah.
But there's other things you can do.
Like a help button.
There's other things you can do with the internet.
It's true.
Like share this neat stuff.
Yay.
Yeah.
Adam is still working on a scanning electron microscope. He powered it up a little bit. The high vacuum pump isn't working. He wasn't sure if it was a leak or a gauge problem, but he tested the gauge, and it turns out the gauge is working okay, so it's definitely the leak. He's going to get some helium and figure out how to debug this leak. This is
you take helium or nitrogen, and then I guess
it.
the voltage drops a little bit when it gets near it. I'll have to replay it, but
I don't know. It reminds me of when you find a hole in a bicycle inner tube, and you put it underwater.
Like that. It's exactly like that.
I think it's just like that, but
except for it's a giant
25 kilovolts.
25 kilovolt electron microscope from 1905.
Yeah, don't put it
But
underwater.
besides that, it's identical.
Matt came back. He was working on his airsoft gun. He got it working. He shot the camera. It was cool.
Yeah.
And then Chris is the most popular dad in the dance troupe in South Carolina.
Yeah.
He built a NeoPixel LED curtain for his kids' dance troupe.
And the theme was Queen.
And the theme was Queen.
Freddie Mercury.
It was Freddie Mercury singing, and there was these flames.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
He uses fake candy, and then he used the Philby tutorial.
Yep, which is funny because it's like, Philby was like, are people going to make this project? And I was like, don't worry, people are going to make this project. It's always good to have a fake candy LED curtain tutorial and use it. We try to do it with a Raspberry Pi, so that you actually get you control the four fake candies, but that way you don't have to use a separate computer, and you can power it, and it has Wi-Fi. No, with a Pi 3 would be even better because it had built-in Wi-Fi.
This is so cool.
So that was it.
All right. All participants on the show and tell get an As Seen on the show and tell sticker or other stuff we give you. Email support@adafruit.com if you're on. Okay. This is part of the Adafruit live series of shows. Desk of Lady Ada, we've been on a roll. I mushed all these together, Lady Ada. So you did the Q-Touch.
Yes.
And then if you watch fast, then you did the IR testing if it works. And then you used the Monsoon power meter. And then we did more IR testing.
This is IR transmit, IR receive, and I finished Q-Touch. So the last thing I have to do is the PDM I2S microscope. And then also another thing I got is, this is my longer general IR guide. The last thing I have to do is, I did get IR proximity working, so you can use it as a proximity sensor. And also the microphone I have to get finished. So I have to finish it up. But that's it. So I'm almost done with Circuit Playground Express.
Yep.
Long time coming, but it's going to be worth it.
Okay. And then next up, Desk Tony D. This week was the Feather M0 loading on Circuit Playground, and then some of the flash storage stuff. So about 1 hour.
Python.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, fine.
Circuit Python,
I
Circuit Playground.
I know.
It's circuit time.
I know. There's a lot going on.
There's Apple has Swift playgrounds.
I know.
Life's a playground.
Why?
Life's a stage, and apparently there's LEDs, and you
love
can dance to
playground.
Queen sometimes.
So this is basically you got your Feather M0. You want to do stuff. We're going to be doing more guides and tutorials with the Feather M0 Express because it's our first Circuit Python designed hardware. It's specifically designed for Circuit Python.
Yeah.
And of course, you can use all our feathers. So you get 2-in-1. You get Circuit Python, and you get our full Arduino ecosystem.
And we'll have more about that soon. JP, this week, a lot of times I'm like, boy, I'd really like to detonate a cup of coffee. And JP delivers.
This is the coffee detonator. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries. So how the heck does this thing work? This is a blasting machine. It was used in mining operations to detonate TNT. And the way it works is that when you raise the handle and then give it a good push, you turn over a magneto, which is a type of generator. It generates between 30 and 60 volts of AC current at about 1.5 to 2 amps, but just for a moment. So it's not able to really power the coffee grinder. So the secret is I'm using an Arduino compatible Adafruit Feather that I've wired to receive the voltage signal in a way it can understand. It then flips the relay inside of this power strip, which then powers the coffee grinder off of the regular 120 volts that it's plugged into. In order to convert the AC current that's coming from the magneto inside of the blasting machine to a DC current that's much more microcontroller friendly, I'm going to use a really clever arrangement of 4 diodes that's called a full wave bridge rectifier. So I have the diodes plugged into a little breadboard here, and on 2 sides of the rectifier I've got an input that comes from the blaster, and then I have an output that's going to the multimeter. Multimeter is now in DC mode, so let's take a look at what kind of readings we get when I plunge the plunger. We're getting about 55 volts, and this is DC current, not AC. So the next job is to step the voltage down from the 30 to 50 or 60 range that we're getting right now to around 3 volts, which is the operating voltage of the Feather microcontroller I'm using. Now I've added a couple of resistors and a capacitor to the circuit, and these are going to act as a voltage divider to take the 30 to 60 volts that we're getting right now down to a more manageable 3 to 6 volts. The capacitor is going to act to smooth out any spikes in that voltage and give us a consistent read. 3 volts, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to read using the analog input pin on our microcontroller. Now I've hooked up the Adafruit Feather microcontroller to my circuit. So I'm reading on analog pin 0 of the Feather the output of the circuit, which is already taking the AC from here at about 30 volts, converting it to about 30 volts DC, and then reducing that with the voltage divider down to up to about 3 volts. The Feather is reading those values at a range of 0 to 1023, and then those are being plotted on the serial plotter of the Arduino software. So right now it's reading close to 0, and you'll see the graph will modify its scale as I plunge the plunger. So now I'm getting anywhere from a 0 to 3 volt range read by the microcontroller, and what I want to do in software now is take that and have an if statement which says if the voltage is below a certain threshold, do nothing. But when it gets up to that 3 volt range, we're going to send a signal to a relay, and that relay is going to turn on the coffee grinder. What I'll do next is take this little circuit and solder a version of it onto a small proto board which will fit right on top of the Feather. Now I've got my circuit soldered onto this proto Feather wing, which will sit right on top of the Feather. I've got a couple of wires connected with terminal connectors, and these will screw into lugs in an enclosure which will then connect to these 2 lugs on the detonator. I've also got a couple of wires coming off which will be plugged into the smart power strip, and the 3 volt output on this wire is enough to control the relay inside of here, which will then allow 120 volts to flow through, controlling the coffee grinder. I can plug the proto Feather wing into this Feather M0, and I've got a LiPo battery connected to it, and I'm going to put it all inside of this little wooden enclosure. Now the enclosure has a couple of lugs I built using nuts and screws to connect to the little terminals, and then I can connect back to the blasting machine. And the USB port I've added here is going to allow me to send new software to the Feather if I want to, log things, and to also charge the battery. And I've left a little bit of space at the bottom for this wire coming out, and I have a little wooden lid that will slip onto here. In order to test this out, I'm going to connect the wiring from my blasting machine over to the microcontroller box, and I'm going to hook up an LED on the little output just to test things out and make sure that it's working before I connect it to this relay. I've set it up so that when this is plunged, the microcontroller is going to read that voltage and then send 3 volts down to this line for 5 seconds. Success. So now, instead of an LED, I'm going to control the relay inside of the smart outlet and then plug it into power. So this indicates that we have 120 available, and then we have a couple of normally off and a couple of normally on plugs. So what I'll do is plug my coffee grinder into the normally off, and then when the plunger goes, the microcontroller is going to flip those to on. All right, we're ready to go, fully operational. So I'm plugging in the grinder to the normally off terminals in the power strip, and now give it a plunge. And there we go, we get 5 seconds of grinding. You can adjust that in software so that you get more or less, but with every new plunge, I get a little more coffee ground. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries, and this is the Coffee Detonator.
Some dynamite coffee there. Okay, packed mailbags and stuff by. This week, so some of our boards are shipping, and they have the M0, so you can run CircuitPython. CircuitPython, Lady Ada, what is that?
It's our...
Before I read the accolades.
It is our beginner-focused version of MicroPython. It's only slightly different, but basically it's designed for beginners to get started very quickly and easily
Everything
using
just works.
Adafruit hardware. And in particular, we're focusing on making it work on hardware that you can then use with Arduino as well. So you have a path upwards to more complicated designs. So you can start with CircuitPython. It's great for beginners, super easy, super fast to get started. And then as you gain more confidence, you can advance onto more complicated code.
But only if there was someone out there who was maybe part of the Python Foundation or did a lot of things with Python and kids, and maybe if they got one, maybe they would let us know. Maybe if they did something with Jupyter Notebooks, something.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. It's happened. Thank you, Carol, for sending us in. We sent this to the team right away. This is from Carol Willing. A lot of people probably know Carol who are in the Python community. Carol says, hi all, the board is amazing. Simple install with UF2. Super fast write. The NeoPixel feedback on start and load makes me oddly happy. This board is a winner. I love that it runs CircuitPython. It's the least frustrating board I have ever seen for kids.
Yay.
Thanks, Carol. That's cool. High praise. Good work.
Yeah.
Good work, Scott. Good work, Tony D. Good work, Lady Ada. Good work, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we have more. So we take phone calls, but when it goes to voicemail, if someone leaves a nice voicemail, we play it. So here's the first one.
Mailbag is voicemail bag.
You're streaming at 2:27 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. I couldn't believe this. What's Lady Ada doing up at this hour doing that stuff? Anyhow, you guys sure work hard. Have a great night or morning. Love what you do. It's Dave from Canada. Bye.
But wait, there's more.
Sorry, look at my demos.
Hey, hi. Lamore, Dill, and especially MOSFET. Keep being awesome.
So you can't call right now, but if you were, you could leave a nice voicemail.
If you leave a nice voicemail, we might play it.
Maybe, but that's our phone number. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Speaking of time, it's time travel time. Look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers. This is my favorite section on our blog. Mostly because there's a lot of people that you think you'd know about, you think you'd hear about, but nope. That's why they're on the Adafruit blog. So putting people in the spotlight. 1899, happy birthday, Percy Levant Julian, American chemist and academic, is born. African-American research chemist, pioneered a lot of things in chemistry. Received 130 chemical patents, one of the first African-Americans to receive a doctorate in chemistry. He's the first African-American chemist to be inducted into the National Academy of Sciences and the second African-American scientist inducted behind David Blackwell from any field. Very cool. Next up.
Tense.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Dorothy Lewis Bernstein, American mathematician, is born. She was the first woman to be elected president of the Mathematics Association of America, best known for applied mathematics, statistics, and computer programming. Her research was on the Laplace transform?
Laplace.
Laplace? Yeah? What is that?
Laplace transform is super cool.
What does it do?
It means that when you are an electrical engineer and you are handling capacitors and inductors and other time, they're not linear in time the same way like resistors are.
Do you use this a lot?
Yeah, no, I use it all the time. You basically, instead of having to do differential equations for knowing how your capacitors and inductors work, which totally sucks, instead you use the Laplace transform and it linearizes them, and basically you can just use fractions.
Did you know about her?
I did not know.
Now you do. See, this is the thing. You're like a Unix geek, and everyone knows who you are. But Dorothy, maybe pull up a spotlight on Dorothy.
The Laplace transform is awesome. So if she's done work on it, like making it more useful for people,
yeah,
that is great. Laplace transform is awesome.
Another birthday coming up. Ready? Happy birthday, Apple 1, 1976. Apple II's created. First
Sweet.
desktop computer by Apple Computer, now Apple Inc., 1976. Designed and built by Steve Wozniak. Made out of wood.
It's nice wood.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
That's a cool computer.
Yeah. It's coming back.
Yeah.
So this video came in at the last minute, and it's Viking based, so I thought I'd put it in time travel.
Yeah.
Aaron St. Blaine did a really cool video, so I'm just gonna play it.
All right.
Okay.
Viking it up.
I didn't know. I'm like, where do I put this video?
You know.
I have love. Where do I put this love?
Her videos could go anywhere.
It can
Really.
go anywhere. Okay. So let's play it. Okay, that's super cool.
I mean, that's just so awesome.
More of that.
Great video work.
Okay.
Love it.
Next up, open source hardware news. We are an open source hardware company. We're an open source community. And
Here's a Lego me.
why not just mention it? Wired had an article. Nick Thompson wrote it up. Thank you so much, Nick and the journalists at Wired. They ran down an interesting story in the Arduino community. Arduino is now a different company. The company that owns the Arduino name, Arduino AG, is a foreign entity. It's not a U.S. company. It's not an Italian company. It's a Swiss company. The CEO is Federico Musto, and there is some issues with the ownership of Arduino. Read the article. I'll just say Arduino is not a cake that should be cut in half. Why people drink champagne and try to turn this into something it's not. It is a community of really cool people sharing code. It is not to be owned by one person. And if it is owned by one person, a majority stake, maybe that person should be more responsible for what they say, what they do, and the community that we're trusting them to manage. So I'll say it straight up. We're Team Massimo. We really like the work and the efforts that Massimo has done. And we hope that...
And the rest of the team for Tamago and Malice.
I know, but Massimo's on the front line.
Cortez, yeah.
And,
Can't leave the Devi Day out.
No, but he's on the front line.
Yeah.
And I want to tell him personally, I would like to see Massimo as the CEO of all of Arduino. He is in charge of the foundation. He is not the CEO currently of Arduino, which is called Arduino AG. So check out the article. And us as an Arduino community, it's not the board, it's not the code, it's not really anything. It's all of us and the things we do together. So check it out.
It's a pretty amazing community too.
Yeah, and it was.
And you know what? The community will survive no matter what.
That's right.
It's such a good idea that
Yeah.
I think it's going to keep on keeping on.
I wrote an article a long time ago, why Arduino won and why it's here to stay. And one of the reasons is not one company and not one person own it. And when that starts to happen, maybe the community can step in and help right the ship. Okay, that's all I have to say about that for now. I'm sure I'll say a bunch of stuff later. Okay, Lady Ada, there's some tutorials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whole bunch.
what you got this week?
Okay, so we have that coffee detonator, the TNT plunger grinder from John Park. Thank you for that. A little write-up, just how to interface unusual devices with your microcontroller. 3D printed Lego tape, we'll talk about that shortly and show the video from Noah and Pedro. It's a really cool project. It's also a great little toy. I just love just twisting this around. We also have a project from Carter Nelson, just coming back with another fun Circuit Playground project. This time it's Circuit Playground Hot Potato. It's a little circuit playground that beeps
Yeah.
and plays a song, and you toss it from person to person. The last person to hold it when the potato stops singing is it, and has to leave the circle. I don't know, this hot potato game is a little bit unusual, but the tutorial talks about the history of the hot potato game.
Perfect for kids because it's a little device. You beep,
Toss it.
toss it.
Okay.
Okay. Those are the tutorials this week. We are up to 1,197, Lady Ada.
Maybe next week we'll hit like 1,200.
Yeah. Okay. Scenes from the Adafruit factory. Some nice bubbling solder on loop. I just watch this all the time. It's relaxing.
Kind of fun.
It's a T1000 advanced module. That's more of the selective solder machine.
Digging some exotic angles.
Yeah. And then one of the things that we do, and I like that we have photos of it and then we have video of it, is here's some of the process that we have when we do things like clip the leads. So we made this little holder that helps us clip the leads to make it easier to do certain types of placement. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I think we pre-clip these leads before we solder them in.
Yep. All right. Next up, 3D printing. You asked for it. You wanted it. We talked about it. It was showed. It was shared. Here it is, the 3D printed flexible Lego tape. Boom.
In this project, we'll show you how you can 3D print flexible Lego strips. These strips are 3D printed with a rubber-like material that allow it to cling to glass surfaces without any adhesives. The bottom of these strips are able to adhere to glass using suction, so this allows you to build Lego projects with lots of different bricks so you can make some pretty cool scenes. We used Ninja Flex, which is a flexible filament that features soft rubber characteristics. The strips have tight tolerance, so they have a pretty solid connection to Lego bricks. Even small 1x1 bricks connect nicely and are able to stay connected even when the strip is curved and flexed. The secret to making Ninja Flex cling to glass is to use a heated glass bed. Heat the bed to around 60 C and make sure that it's absolutely leveled across the entire bed. In order to properly 3D print with Ninja Flex, you may need to disable retraction settings. It's really important to have a perfect first layer, so we need to make sure that there isn't any excess material. While leveling the bed, we need to find the sweet spot so that the first layer isn't too squished or too loose. If the bed's too close to the nozzle, the material may buckle. If it's too high, then the bottom won't have an even surface. On the top, we have a correctly leveled part. In the middle, we have a strip that wasn't properly leveled, so it won't have that proper suction. And for comparison, the bottom strip was printed on blue painter's tape. This gives a rough, matted texture that just doesn't adhere to glass, so you really do need that glass bed to make the suction work. One of the coolest things about this project is how we're able to use material properties to create objects that can stick to surfaces without the use of any adhesives. And you can also 3D print any shape or even cut the strips using scissors to make custom shapes and sizes. Ninja Flex is pretty neat. You can even sew these onto clothing like shirts, hats, and maybe even shoes. What interesting project ideas do you have? Let us know in the comments, and if you like this project, don't forget to leave a like and share. Also be sure to click on that bell icon to get notified for new projects from Adafruit every week.
Could really go for like a time lapse of like a squid or something.
Okay,
Like
when we come back,
like a little nightcap.
like when we come back from the squid, I can show the
Okay.
tape and
Yeah, let's do
figurine.
that. don't forget every Wednesday, Noah and Pedro share their wisdom, 3D printing secrets, and more on 3D Hangouts.
Do you want me to show this? Well,
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna show
this
this.
tape.
Yeah, show
this
this
tape is
tape.
so cool. Yeah, so this is stuck together, which is how they figured out that this was, you could glue it, but it's also, you can like sew it. It's just like super fun. It's
Yeah.
like flexible. And then, you can like, I have this like figurine of me and
I
it,
got a feeling we're gonna be in like the store, and there's just gonna be like rolls of Lego tape. I don't think they can just let this happen.
yeah, this is cool.
Like I like that. I think there's like a theoretical like Mr. Lego.
Yeah.
Ah.
And then like you have this little cat figurine also. So yeah, it's kind of neat. And like it sticks and it's
Yeah.
like nice and soft.
We-
I thought it would be neat for like sewing onto like a hat or like shoes.
Yeah, we like Lego, and we like what Lego's up to. They wanted to do stuff with us, but they had some crazy NDA that's like 5 years, and we're like, everything changes every 5
Yeah, I can't-
days.
yeah.
So we couldn't do it, but we'd very much like to work with Lego. We have neat ideas, but we can't sign an NDA for 5 years. I mean, 5 years ago, I was in our apartment getting bins at 5 a.m. for the postal service. Like, a lot of things change in 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years from now, we'll be at Adafruit Mars.
probably.
I don't even know if the NDAs will apply.
Yeah, I don't even know if
I
we'll
don't
have.
know.
I don't even know if we'll have an American legal system to
I
back
don't
it up.
know.
Yeah,
I think sunshine will be outlawed, as will friendship.
yeah.
Okay. So, anywho. Okay, Lady Ada. Guess what time it is?
I hope it's time for the new.
Well, it will be. The code is DHL is here. So let's do this thing. Are you ready?
New.
Yeah. All right. I'll kick it off. We're taking subscribers for AdaBox. Adafruit.com/AdaBox. It's our subscription service. Every quarter, you get cool stuff from Adafruit. Here's a little video. Okay, we cut off subscriptions after a certain point, so go to adafruit.com/adabox.
Yeah,
Sign
don't wait till
up.
last minute because there's no last minute. You
No.
will not be able to sign up.
All right, it's time for my medicine.
Okay. This is
It's a syringe.
The first new product of the week is the Chip Quick CP5S. This is a metal, silver-based conductive paint, glue, ink, whatever. It's metal, tin, silver, copper. You can look at the MSDS for the actual contents. But this is basically a conductive fluid that dries, and it's very low resistivity. So it's good for when you want to pass current through it. But that said, it's also like pretty flexible, and it can be used for a lot of different things. It's not non-toxic the same way bare conductive is. Bare conductive is like the other like carbon-ish based conductive paint, but
I'm
it's
carbon-based.
yeah, well, we all are,
Okay.
but it's higher resistivity. So this might be good. I mean, originally this stuff wasn't meant for like crafting. It's designed for
the overhead.
fixing flex circuits and stuff. Let's see if I can zoom in. So you get a bunch of this conductive paint glue, and it comes with a couple different tips. Got this tip. This one's a little bit big. Let me open this up and maybe get another one. Yeah. So you can remove the tips. You can use like standard lure lock tips, of course,
Okay.
but it does come with two. And then you can gently squeeze it and make fine lines, and then you can also use tools like once you apply it. But a lot of times you'll see we see a lot of people who do like projects that are like, okay, make a like conductive ink printer,
Yeah.
or you want to like put this in a 3D printer or something and like make weird. Oh goodness, everything collapsed.
Everything's okay.
It's fine. It's from the 90s. It'll last
No
forever.
one saw that. Oh wait, no, Instagram did.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Let's see why this is kind of. I guess it clogs a little bit, but yeah, basically, you get this. Metal-based glue. You can also, of course, just squeeze it out directly like this, and then apply it with, whatever tool you want. You can spread it thinly, and then it's high resistivity until you're done using it. Let it dry, and then you can look at the data sheet. It's like only a couple ohms per square inch compared to like 100 or 200 ohms for other conductive inks. The trade-off is it's more expensive. Like you're going to pay a lot more because it's got silver and copper and tin in it.
Yeah.
And of course it's not non-toxic. So, this is yet another crafty material that you can use for making weird conductive, clothing or art or sensors, or if you want to repair flex circuits, sometimes this is also used for that.
Yeah. If your Tin Man friend needs a transfusion.
Yes.
All sorts of things. Okay. Let's keep doing this
There you
thing.
go. Okay.
Okay. Next up.
Next up, the thing I dropped on the floor.
No, we'll fix it in.
I'll fix it in post. Yeah.
So this is neat. I like this because I got an Xbox One because I only like one video game.
Yeah.
I don't play video games because I play this other video game called Adafruit. Help you run this company and try to make the world a better place. So that video game, we play on the hard level in high heels, doing backflips and eating bowls of glass. However, there is a video game I'm quite fond of, and it is called Whacked.
Yes.
And it's one of the hardest video games. I played on the hard level, and you can only play it on Xbox One.
That's right. And you can't use it, like we tried playing it on the Xbox.
You can. It's like, sorry, wrong firmware. So one of the things about the Xbox One, though, is it doesn't have HDMI out.
That's right.
So if you
Which we learned
yeah,
when we
which we
got
have, a hard time now because everything is HDMI. So do you want me to go to the overhead?
Yeah, let me see if I hope I didn't.
I'll just keep showing this picture.
Hold on. Oh, you know what? The Xbox turned on.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think we didn't play it for like an hour because we were setting up. So.
So anyways.
Here you go.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is an Xbox. Well, we bought this Xbox so you could play Whacked, but it's also a great demo of this HDMI converter. So. If you have old devices like, for example, I'll turn the volume down. If you have like an Xbox or like an old Nintendo or some old computers, if you have an Apple II, it has composite out, and you want to use it with a modern monitor or projector or whatever, and it only has HDMI in, which most TVs these days only have HDMI in. Maybe they have VGA if you're lucky. You want to use some older stuff. So you would use a converter box like this. And this converter box takes video in, and you can use CCAM, which is rare, but some people have it, PAL or NTSC, and then left and right audio, white and red, so standard composite. And then on the other side, you get HDMI, and the HDMI is audio and video combined. So like this is a monitor that has video and audio, so you can, you could hear when I was booting it up, the speaker volume, the speakers were playing the audio. You can also get the audio out from the little port over here if you're using like a monitor that doesn't have speaker. And then you can select the output format to 720p or 1080p. So these are more expensive than ones. We have the other way. So we have a converter that takes HDMI and decodes it and gives you composite. That's really easy. It's way harder to take composite and then audio and convert it into HDMI. And so this is a more expensive box. But, if you have an old Xbox and you really want to use it, this is the only way. Our TV doesn't even have composite, which is pretty amazing. The only thing you have to watch out for is, even though this gives you 1080p or 1080p or 720p, just because it has 720p or 1080p output doesn't mean it actually turns your video into like high definition. Like you're just going to get the same
crappy video, just
kind
bigger.
of crappy, fuzzy, video. It's not. I mean, it's not like horrible, but it's 480p. It's not going to be HD, and it's just projected in 720. So it's pretty good. You know, and if you have like an old TV, it would look fine because the TV just didn't do any better. But just when you get it, if you use it and you're like, like it isn't like super sharp HD. Yeah, it doesn't actually do like remastering of the video.
This is endless appetizers. They don't get better. It's the same appetizers. Okay.
A very good analogy. So that said, this does work really well. We use it at home with our Xbox.
Yeah,
and
or as I like to call it, the whacked appliance. Because that's all it plays. Okay.
Okay.
Next up, let's keep moving.
Let's move on.
All right.
I'm gonna
Got
get
some
this out of the way.
Bluetooth stuff going on here.
These are updated products, but they're updated enough.
Upgrades.
They're updated upgrades, so I thought we would mention them. So, hold on, let me put this
Okay.
away.
I'm just going to show the photos while you do all this stuff.
Oh, you know what? I did not bring those up, so I don't
No,
have
who
them.
cares?
So we'll show its photos. Okay, so these
And I
are
have a video.
these are updated. Yeah, we'll have the video of Bluetooth. So these are an older product. They're the Bluetooth Friend and Bluetooth Sniffer. And the thing about these now is that we have redesigned the board to make it lower cost. We've lowered the price. And the USB converter chip is now a Scilabs chip, not an FTDI chip. We really prefer the Scilabs chip. We found it has better performance.
Yeah.
And again, the price is lower.
Yeah.
So overall, good. Other
Some people
than
are very passionate about that particular function
that's cool.
of a chip, of the board.
So basically, the only real update is
Price is nice too on the Scilabs chip.
the price is very nice.
Price is right.
Very nice. And that, along with removing the SWD connector, which like almost nobody used, allowed us to drop the price on both of these. So the USB, they look the same because they're the same hardware, but we load different firmware on them. The sniffer is the device you'd want to use if you want to listen on a Bluetooth device. Is great for reverse engineering or development work if you want to monitor your Bluetooth, make sure it's working, or like, you want to, use it with some other device. I don't know, all sorts of like Bluetooth sniffing, hacking, reverse engineering. That's a useful tool.
Yeah.
And we also have a version that has our Bluetooth Friend firmware. What that's useful for is if you want to communicate with a tablet or a phone that has Bluetooth and you want to act as a client device. Again, really useful for development if you want to have like a custom interface, or you want to make sure that your connectivity is going, or you just want to send data to and from a tablet to your computer. Even though some computers have Bluetooth in them, like Windows 7 doesn't have native support, and even like Linux, which does have some support, it's a real pain in the ass to get using. This tool will let you basically use USB to serial instead of like having to use Blues
Yeah.
or
Bluetooth
OS
is a giant
X.
mess. We tried our
Total mess.
best for makers to fix it, and we like to make Bluetooth friends.
Yeah.
That's why I call it Bluetooth friend. If there was only like a 4-minute-ish video where someone like Colin explained Bluetooth.
Well, Colin's great at explaining stuff like this.
Oh, wait, there is.
Yay. Take it away, Colin.
You've heard of Bluetooth for connecting audio and other peripherals wirelessly. Bluetooth Low Energy is sort of the next generation of Bluetooth. And as the name implies, it uses a lot less power. Bluetooth Low Energy uses less energy by keeping things simple. Instead of maintaining a constant connection, the BLE protocol only sends data as needed, and it does so with very little overhead. This means it's great for periodic updates, like getting readings from a sensor, but it's not so great for streaming audio or video. For now, that's a job best left to classic Bluetooth or even better, Wi-Fi. Probably the biggest reason that BLE is so great for DIY is the fact that companies like Apple and Google have made it so easy for developers to use. Someone writing an app for iOS or Android can easily add in BLE support without needing any special certification or contending with any legal hurdles or anything like that. It's definitely a good thing. But you don't have to be an app developer to use BLE in your project.
The Bluefruit LE Connect app is a free download for iOS and Android that works as a multi-purpose tool when communicating with BLE devices. It includes a terminal-like interface for sending and receiving text, a controller mode that can send orientation, color, and control pad messages, and even a firmware updater for upgrading BLE peripherals wirelessly.
Well, that's all nice and everything, but how can you use it? Well, let's look at a few examples.
Here I have a temperature sensor and a BLE breakout board connected to an Arduino Uno. Once I've connected my phone to the BLE board, the code I have running on the Arduino gets a value from the sensor every 5 seconds and sends it back to my phone. So here, data is being sent out from the BLE peripheral device and is retrieved by the BLE central device, my phone. But data can, of course, move in the opposite direction as well. This little red rover uses a Feather microcontroller board with an integrated BLE module. The Feather uses a separate motor controller board to drive the 2 servo motors on the wheels. All of this is controlled using the Bluefruit app's control pad interface. Data is sent from my phone out to the rover every time I touch down on a button and every time I release it. Here I'm using another BLE Feather, but this time with an RGB LED matrix attached. Using the app's color picker, I can send a color value over to the board in RGB format. The Feather then writes this value to all of the LEDs.
Oh, and one more interesting way to use BLE is as a beacon. This allows a BLE device to work as a sort of proximity sensor, and I don't even have to find, choose, and connect to it beforehand.
When functioning as a beacon, my BLE Feather continually broadcasts what's called advertising data, containing a specific identifier string I wrote to it earlier. I also registered this string with the Beacon app called Locate, which is running on my phone. My phone will continually scan nearby BLE advertising data, and once it comes into range of the Feather, it'll find a match for that string and display a notification.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, Bluetooth, which is a relatively odd name, was named after Harald Bluetooth, a Viking king who united Denmark and Norway. Apparently, he knew how to use power efficiently as well. Well, I'm off to unite some devices myself, so go make something with BLE, and you'll be able to do stuff like this.
Okay, and the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, on this episode of Ask an Engineer, what is this?
This is our latest 9DOF sensor, but this is a really nice 9DOF sensor. 9 degree of freedom. This has a 3-axis gyro, 3-axis accelerometer, and 3-axis magnetometer. But unlike our other 9DOF sensors, this one is really high precision, really high quality sensor set. It's from NXP. We actually saw these first in a Teensy prop wing. And we're like, wow, check out the specs on these. The gyro in particular, the precision was like 10 or 100 times better than any of the other sensors we have. And that actually makes a big difference when you're doing orientation sensing, because you have to, you have to integrate over all the sensor data. And if the sensor data starts drifting, your orientation data starts drifting. So this set, the FXO and FXA from NXP, when used together, basically get you, as far as we can tell, this is the best on the market 9 degree of freedom sensor for stability and precision. And we even have a version of AHRS, which is the orientation fusion software that you can run on your Arduino or your Feather or pretty much any processor. They'll take that data and take the acceleration, magnetometer, and gyroscope and give you orientation so you can tell which way you're facing and whether you're pointing down or up or turning. And it does a really good job. It's a little tougher to use than the B&O 055, which is our orientation sensor that has the microcontroller built in, but it's a lot less expensive. So if you don't mind having to run our library code on your microcontroller, maybe you have a microcontroller that's powerful enough or has enough flash, you basically get kind of the best of both worlds, the low cost, high precision, orientation sensing, and it's not too big either.
Okay, let's answer a question specifically about this. Does the FXOS8700 have sensor fusion? If not, does the library handle it?
This library handles all of it. That's the trade-off. The sensors themselves are dumb sensors. They don't do the fusion on their own. However, our library code very easily takes this data. You do a little bit of calibration if you want the best performance, and then out of the box, it pretty much just works. But
Okay.
you have to run our library code on your microcontroller. It takes up 15K of flash. So if you're using like an Arduino Uno and you have like a ton of code for doing other things, you may not have that extra 15K. That said, if you're running something like an M0 or like an STM processor, you're going to have tons of extra flash space. It's not a big deal for you to do the sensor fusion in the microcontroller. And then you have a lot of control over like how fast you want to run it and when you want to run it and calibration and all that good
Okay.
stuff.
Choices.
Choices.
All right.
But a really nice sensor set. I think if you look at the specs compared to the MPU series or the LSM series, this one is pretty top notch.
Okay. Well, with that is new products. Good work, Lady Ada.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. Well, we're going to do some more stuff. The show is 24/7. We just turn the cameras off once in a while.
Yeah.
Or we just turn them on.
Meow.
Yeah. So the code is DHL's here. Please use it. It helps run this place. We have lights and all sorts of things. And these are really nice people. Okay. Let's do some top secret. From the Adafruit Vault. What you got this week?
This week, I've got a microbit.
Woo!
This is the, that there.
Woo!
This is the first one we photographed. That was a sample, but the one in my hand is the first microbit from a shipment that we received. So these will be going to the shops very soon.
Next week.
Well, next week
Ish.
is long, you know. I hate to promise, but it seems like next week is a very high
We're
probability.
getting ice cream, kids, I promise. And then you take the kids and you just take them to a burnt out warehouse and you're like, the ice cream place burnt down. I'm so sorry, kids. And it was your fault.
It's like traumatic for you. Well,
Was that my outside voice saying?
there's no
Okay,
no,
anyways, you
don't
wanna fill
ask.
in the
It's not.
overhead?
Yeah, sure. Don't ask because it's
Don't
not
ask
out.
about Phil's childhood. Let's go to the overhead.
Yeah, so we got this little thing. I like these. These are a great introduction to electronics and microcontrollers. And this is pretty cool. I think this will be a fun addition. We're going to be the first distributor in the U.S. To start. And
We got all sorts of accessories. We got all sorts of things planned. It's going to be a good time.
yeah, and a good pairing for Circuit Playground Express. We think of these as going together well. They do different things
Yeah.
differently,
Like a wine pairing.
like a wine pairing.
Ooh, this is a 2017 microbit from the UK.
Yes,
Fantastic season.
delicious.
Do people talk like that?
You do,
Really?
yeah,
I like beer. I'm going to have beer later.
yes.
There's
That
this,
is for sure.
There's this beer that tastes like burnt charcoal, and it's so good.
Like-
but they don't have it all the time.
Like the burnt warehouse.
yeah, like
That
the burnt
does not-
warehouse,
yeah.
like a burnt warehouse. It's exactly what it tastes like. Okay, so that's
Is that out yet?
yeah, back in the vault,
Back in the silver bag.
which is kind of like a vault. Okay, let's answer some questions.
Yeah.
Post them up in the chat. How do you edge connector?
Well, we actually stock an edge connector for the microbit, so you can pick one up in the shop. It's a couple bucks, and then you can solder to it, or you can buy an adapter. You can also use alligator clips.
Okay. Microbit will be cheaper. Well,
It's not out yet. Don't ask.
Yeah.
No questions about the microbits.
Smoked porter, no, it's a smoked ale. I'll try to get the name of it for that beer. Let's see. Have you been on the Amp Hour podcast? No, but we want them to come on our thing because we have this show and we want to do a lot of video chat. But I think with the time zones, it's kind of hard. Let's see. Do we plan on making a drone? Not really.
Yeah, there's a lot of drone companies. Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, DJI kind of makes all the drones.
Yeah.
We make stuff that goes in drones. We make stuff that attaches drones.
3D Robotics just lost like $80 million trying to give the drone
it's kind of like
business.
3D printers. Like we sell a couple, but we don't want to make 3D printers.
No.
Tough biz.
Yeah.
Tough biz.
Rather sell it than make it.
Yeah. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way to connect multiple MCP4725AX chips together if you need like 4 or 6 DACs running together?
Well, we have an I2C multiplexer, so you just use a multiplexer. That's the easiest way to connect multiple I2C devices.
Okay.
That way you don't have to worry about like address collisions or anything. You just wire them all up and you can use up to 8.
Is it possible to add a startup sound to the Raspberry Pi?
You could, but it wouldn't start up at like just boot up. It would have to wait until after the audio driver's been loaded.
If I was making like a Raspberry Pi computer, I think I'd do that separately. So when it powers on, there's another little...
Yeah, there's just no...
Yeah.
Linux doesn't really have a startup sound thing. Instead, it depends on, because the audio driver is loaded later. So once it's loaded, you could then have it play.
Okay.
But
I need help replacing a USB micro port PCB on a Gen 2 Astro A5 headset in order for it to charge and for the charge indicator to light up. Will the USB micro B breakout board that you sell work?
probably. But you'll have to solder those wires to your headset, and I don't know where or how to do that.
Jobs board reopening date. We don't have a date, but we are working on it. We're building a jobs board.
It's not out yet. Don't ask.
From scratch, and it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the jobs board. It's just hard to manage. It was a kind of a unmaintained open source jobber, and it just became too hard to patch up and maintain. So we thought maybe we'd make one, and maybe we could see if we can open source the thing that we're going to do.
Yeah.
But we don't want to maintain an open source package because then we're the jobber. Okay. Overview of your streaming setup. I think I'm going to do a separate one because a lot of questions came up today.
Yeah.
And I'm into like the fast and fun. We do so many live streams. If it takes longer to set up and edit and do everything, you're not really focusing on you, the audience. You're just like playing around with weirdo hardware that no one cares about. We like the idea of it just being like very easy to use, off-the-shelf stuff that anyone could do. So I'll do a little video about that later. Might not work for everyone. It's what works for us. We've been doing this for 8 years.
You could do a guide on the system.
Yeah, but then I don't have to
to
maintain
update
it. See,
yeah.
this is the thing.
You could say as of 2017.
I do have posts in the forums because I answer a lot of questions about this.
Yeah.
I think that's what I might do. I think I might have like a FAQ that I update in the forums, and then maybe once a year I'll do a guide. Like this is the Formula One race car for this year.
Yes, 2017
Yeah.
setup.
Okay.
I think that's fine. I think as long as you are clear about, hey, this is from 2017.
Yeah.
I think people would like that. People
Okay.
ask all the time.
Let's. That's it. We're out.
Great.
Thank you for the questions. Any other things you post to forums? Come back later. Whatevs. You could also help each other in the chat.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, Lady Ada. Let's remind everyone of the code. DHL's here, and let's do some trivia stuff. What do you want to give away this week?
We're going to give away one of these awesome NXP 9DOF boards.
Yeah.
Super handy.
Okay. What are the rules?
Rules are: if you won before, you should not enter again. Please let everybody have a chance to win. We're just being nice, so please hold off so that everyone gets a chance to win a fabulous prize.
Okay.
First person to call is the winner.
Yeah. Call this phone number.
Call this number. I will pick up.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
I'm gonna ask you your name and where you're from, and maybe talk about a project that you're working
Yeah.
on.
Make sure you say your name, where you're from. Oh, we have a call.
Well, that's like shocking and surprising every time.
It
All
is.
right.
It is actually.
You ready for me to
Yeah, do it.
Hello, you've reached the Ask an Engineer show. You are the winner. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
I won? This
Yeah.
is Groggy Knob,
Yeah, you won.
Buffalo, New York.
Your name is sorry, what was your name again?
Groggy Knob.
Okay.
Yay.
Congratulations.
I'm in the Twitch chat.
Oh,
great.
yeah, Twitchers for the win. Sometimes it's the YouTube
Oh, hey,
chat.
Groggy Nod.
Yeah, I was just like, that's kind of a cool name.
Okay, what did he win?
He won an NXP 9DOF sensor, but
What are you going to do with this?
what are you going to do with this cool sensor, or what are you working on? Tell us something.
I have no idea what I'm going to do with that sensor.
That's the best answer because because that's cool because you didn't know that you're going to win this, and now you can think of all the cool things. So it's like 2 prizes.
Yeah. Do you have any projects you're working on right now?
I'm doing a lot of stuff with 3D printing right now, kind of going back and forth between some projects there.
Okay, you should totally print up that squid koozie because it just looks awesome.
And no one can call you Mr. Groggy because you were fast on the digits tonight.
No, you are the non-groggiest.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, so to win your prize, all you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and just say, I'm Mr. Groggy, I won the 9DOF sensor, and we will send it out to you.
It's,
And then
it's product 3463.
yeah,
Tell Mr. Groggy that.
say it's number 3463. That way they'll get you the right thing because we have a lot of sensors. And then maybe come back on the show and tell once you build something cool with it.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thanks, Mr. Groggy.
Thanks, Mr. Groggy. Later.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay.
I was like, you're calling from Groggy Knot? It's a little confusing.
No, that's Mr. Groggy.
Yeah, Mr. Groggy.
Yeah. Okay. If you call the phone number and it goes to voicemail, which it should, leave a nice message and maybe we'll play it. And once in a while, we kind of do random acts of kindness. You never know. If you leave a mean email, I'll find you. So that's the show for tonight, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. That's the show. Lady Ada, before we go, tell everybody the code.
The code is DHL is here, especially for you Canadians, eh?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Delivering the goods
Look at this nice time lapse we did.
at the speed of yellow. Yellow wavelength is not so slow. It's pretty fast.
No, not very fast.
Okay.
Terahertz.
Yeah.
These things are fun. I like
They are.
kind of just flopping them.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll be here next week. We'll do some Desk of Lady Ada. Thank you, everyone out there, especially in the last week. There's a lot of folks out there that sent some really nice emails, and it's very much appreciated. And again, special shout outs to all the makers out there that are helping others. We're a community of people that can use technology to help others. That's kind of cool. It's kind of one of the points of technology. So thank you so much, everyone out there. You know who you are. And thank you, everyone at Adafruit, all the folks that are helping in the chat and running shows, and all the folks working on cool projects and products with us. Thanks
More
for making
fun
this
stuff coming soon.
Yeah, thanks
Lots
for
of
making
new
this a
products.
fun community. We'll keep doing this if y'all keep watching. So hit like, subscribe, pick up an electronic kit, tell some friends, whatevers. We'll see everybody next week. Here is a picture of a cat. This is MOSFET. He's installing Windows 10 CU edition right now.
Cat
inside
unit.
that box. Here is your moment of Zener. Thank you, everyone.
Later.
Bye-bye.